It's down to 2, final play of the third quarter. Blitz coming, but Tari is swallowed up. Meanwhile, Smith lost the handle. Bilella for 3. It's good! And Gusto now will rise up from the 5-meter line and score!
That's a terrific ball, and it's up. See if he does. Shot is up. And
No!
Baker hits with. But it's not wrong.
No!
Top! Kenny Moore! Wow!
And now it's McCauley who can finish it out. And he gets the ace.
Wilson, here comes the rush. Wilson on the reception, another touchdown for Tariq Wilson.
Pass centered up. Great read by Unke. Outside Cruz. Tools it.
Looking for Larod down the near side, who's got it inside the 5.
And that's victory number 48 without a loss. And
OTC, your champion in 2019.
To it. The end of a tough year, San Diego State, once again, the Hawks soaring over all they survey.
We have a new champ. It's Fullerton College and the Hornets here in 2019.
And a very pleasant good evening, and we welcome you to San Manuel Stadium in San Bernardino for the Best of the West tournament here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. We are underway with our evening matchup between the OC Bucs and the San Diego Waves. Hello again, everybody. Jeff Stoynoff, Dennis Ackerman with you from San Bernardino for the inaugural Best of the West tournament. And Dennis, the Waves back in action. They were involved in our second game of the day, a 9-2 loss to the SoCal Hitmen. And they go back to work tonight in Game 3 against the OC Bucs, who are making their first appearance of the weekend here tonight. On the mound, it's Chandler Cameron working to Harrison Spahn with a count of a ball and a strike.
Jeff, it's been a tough tournament so far for the Waves. They have dropped 6 out of their 7 contests. They have a very young team, a roster full of junior college players.
Swing and a miss from Spahn, and he's down in the count now, a ball and 2 strikes. Meanwhile, the Bucs come in with a record of 3 wins and 2 losses, and they're undefeated against teams not named Inland Valley. 0-2 against the Pirates in the rivalry of the Best of the West tournament so far. But they have had success outside of that. Count now 2 balls and 2 strikes as the right-hander Cameron works on Spahn. It'll be Spahn, Chad Castillo, and Eric Bajani here in the first, and you get a good look at right-hander Chandler Cameron. Into the wind, the 2-2 pitch. Hot shot into the corner. This will be extra bases for Harrison Spahn. Digging for second. He'll make it easily and hold up there with a stand-up double. So Spahn gets things going immediately for the Bucs as he gets that one past Drew Thomas at third. It's Drew Thomas at third, Mitch Morales at short, Liam Bailey at second, Jose Mesa, the first baseman, Griffin Zitko behind the plate, Chandler Cameron on the mound. The outfield, Mason Campbell in left, Dylan Moraes in center, Caden Zubo in right. That is the Waves defense, and Chad Castillo stands in for the Bucs.
Jeff Cameron's going to be a freshman, University of Northern Colorado. He hails from San Diego, went to Rancho Bernardo High School.
It'll be interesting to see how long we see Cameron. In the previous game, we saw a couple of the Waves pitchers go a couple of innings, it seems, as this tournament goes on. Pitchers starting to have a little bit more lengthy appearances on the mound. And on the hands, popped up. Left field, Mason Campbell on the run and has it for the out.
Jeff, in that prior game, Mason Campbell made an outstanding sliding catch to rob Jeff Perantoni, the SoCal hitman, of a base hit.
Yeah, showed some good range there on the run. Ball hung up in the air, but he had a long way to go. Ends up taking that one near the line for out number 1, and that'll bring up Eric Bajani. Cameron from the belt, and that one fouled away. No balls and a strike. Had to go radio there momentarily, but we were ready. And there is Eric Bajani as he digs in from the right side. And you see the graphic, Bajani heading to UNLV. Fouls it back again. Cameron out in front now, no balls and 2 strikes.
And Bajani spent his first 2 years at Cypress College, and his freshman campaign at UNLV was quite impressive. He was chosen to the Mountain West All-Conference team in the abbreviated season.
Yeah, another player I think who gleaned a lot of benefit from some time in the California Community College system, which has grown to be more and more competitive. Long-standing tradition, but more and more talent coming into the California community colleges and then going on to 4-year programs, a ball and 2 strikes. And Bajani able to announce his presence with authority, if I could borrow from Bull Durham at UNLV with an impressive campaign.
An outstanding reference as well.
Here's the 1-2. Drive into left center and deep back near the wall. And it is out of here. Nope. Okay, it did hop the wall. All right. Just short of the wall, off the track and over, so Bajani will settle for the ground rule double as he gave it a ride. So the Bucs grab the quick 1-0 lead as you see the replay, and Bajani with a drive. Just off the track and over. First pitch, swinging, bouncing ball to short. Morales with the throw. And Keith retired for out number 2. That'll bring up J.J. Cruz. And we'll have a pinch runner for Bajani. And Bajani's starting behind the plate, and I think they just want to let him get ready to head out into the field. And so they'll send in a pinch runner, and Cruz will be the batter.
I mean, Damon Keith Just grounded out. Good way to stay in the game.
This one in foul territory down the left field line. Well, I know they're informal, but they're not going to go with the old invisible runner at second. For
No.
back when you played baseball, and
Right.
you only had about 5 players. Fortunately, more than enough players to send somebody in. 2 down, just underway. No balls and a strike on Cruz. Cameron with a look back. And the breaking ball misses away. Cameron Rapetti would be next if Cruz can keep it alive. And there is JJ playing ball at Cal State Fullerton, just foul. Missed extra bases by about 6 inches.
He did. He got his feet wet this season, Jeff. He appeared in 9 games, hit 200, 3 runs batted in, also scored 3 runs.
Yeah, so many players just starting to get an opportunity, playing that fraction of a season, and then all play halted. Of course, as we deal with the unprecedented coronavirus pandemic. But now it's getting crowded on the field. For a while, it was just us, but
Major League
now
Baseball is
now
back, right?
Yeah, they have followed suit in the majors, and
Hey, if we can do it, they can do it,
right,
right?
they're back to work. It'd be nice to think that we were inspirational. But indeed, this week got back to action around Major League Baseball, and I got to see Wrigley Field again. Not in person, but
Warms
still
your heart, doesn't it?
Feels good
Right.
to get a look at the park. Always nice when they're playing ball in there.
How about Cruz fouling off a lot of pitches here, just waiting for something, pitch that he can handle.
Yeah, Cameron with 2 strikes, and looks to be a pitcher relies a little more on placement, not exactly the overpowering stuff, and Cruz able to fight some pitches off, and we'll see how Cameron elects to work with a 1-ball and 2-strike count. Here's the pitch, low and away. Tomorrow, 3 more games, but tomorrow night here on SoCal College Sports, we will have the Inland Valley and OC high school all-stars. So, lifted into center field and deep. Moraes moving back near the track. Can't get it. It's off the wall. Cruz rounding second. He's going to head for third. Here's the throw, and he's in there. So Cruz legs out a triple. And the Bucs push the lead to 2-0.
Well, they're certainly not getting cheated on their swings. They've now got a triple and 2 doubles in this inning.
Well, there you see Cameron able to get ahead 2 strikes, but you referenced it before, and Cruz, a veteran move and able to stay alive, see more pitches, and eventually found one that he could drive, getting it over the head of Moraes all the way to the deepest part of the ballpark. And running hard from the outset, Cruz was able to stretch it into a triple. That'll bring up Rapetti. First pitch misses high.
Yeah, Jeff, you got to really get a hold of one to hit it out to center. It's 410 straight away, 330 down the lines. But that right field wall much taller than left field. Double the size, basically.
It's the old Kingdom setup here, I think, if my memory is right. 2 balls and no strikes. I think it was the Kingdom had the big right field.
It did indeed.
Right field wall. And there was the baggie of the Metrodome.
Oof.
2 balls and no strikes.
Oof.
Also a pretty big right field wall.
Did it have the bag and then the kind of glass on top of the bag, or was that maybe
I know
later?
left field had the little bit of glass on top.
Boy, what
I think the big baggie was just once you got it over there. That was it. It was out. 3 balls and no strikes on Rapetti. Jammed him. He fouls it away on the right side. Out of play.
It's a good thing that stadium is out.
The Metrodome?
Indeed.
Yeah, it didn't really scream traditional
No.
baseball, did it?
You know, remember back in the late 80s, it was one of those surfaces also. If you swung down on it, the ball would bounce at least 20 feet up in the air. It was such a hard playing surface.
But it did give rise to one of the great, some of the great conspiracy theories about how they were so good at home. Line drive, center field, a base hit. Bucs tack on another one. RBI single for Rapetti. And it's now 3-0. So the Bucs going to work on Chandler Cameron here in the first. I believe the 2 I heard was, one was the piping in of the noise, but that's not exactly anything really new. But that they would pipe in the noise when the other team was at bat, or where they could seek to disrupt concentration. But the more creative one was that they had set up the air conditioning to have it blowing out when they were at the plate, and blowing in.
And the Vikings also played there. Remember, they had the roof white so you could see the punts. That's what the reason was. But
yeah.
What about the pop-ups in baseball?
Yeah, just in case you're wondering whether Minneapolis is a baseball town or a football town. Ball and a strike. With all due respect to the Twins. 1 ball and 1 strike on Pittman. 4 hits in the inning for the Bucs, and they have grabbed the quick 3-0 lead. Off-speed pitch, just high, 2 balls and a strike now on Pittman.
Pittman's headed to New Mexico State to play his baseball in the Western Athletic Conference.
Speaking of big home field, home court advantages, that was a college basketball, but New Mexico State for years. The Pitt, very tough place to play. 3 balls and a strike. We'll just have to see if the home park for New Mexico State baseball enjoys the same home field advantage. Rapetti at first with 2 down. Here's the 3-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss. Snap throw down to first, but Rapetti back standing up. Full count now on Pittman.
Yeah, I like that throw from Zitko just to make sure he knows Rapetti's keeping an eye on him down there.
Well, if you're Rapetti, always thinking about second base. If you can get there, then a base hit to the outfield. Bring home another run. Back to the screen, and Rapetti is going to get second, though it's a walk to Pittman. So, either way, he was advancing. And they will roll over the inning. That'll do it for the first half inning. 3 runs on 4 hits, no errors. 2 left on base. Heading to the bottom of the first, and the Bucs with the 3-0 lead over the Waves. It's the inaugural Best of the West tournament here from San Bernardino on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Brought to you by Future Events Group. Bottom of the first, and it'll be Alex Schreier who will get the start for the OC Bucs. And he will go to work against Dylan Moraes, Jose Mesa, and Drew Thomas for the Waves. Leading it off, it's Moraes and the fastball inside a ball. And there is Dylan Moraes. Moraes earlier today in the 9-2 loss. As he takes another pitch for a ball, 2 balls and no strikes, and Moraes down in the order 0 for 2 against the SoCal Hitmen. The Waves dropping that one 9-2. Fouled back and out of play. 2 balls and a strike on Moraes. Bucs cut in the same cloth in a lot of ways as Inland Valley. A lot of experience, a lot of D1 talent up and down this roster. So another stern challenge for the Waves here in this Best of the West tournament, where they are getting a look at some very talented teams. And of course, we still await Santa Barbara coming in next weekend, and that's a very talented team as well, and we'll look forward to that. There's another team yet to come. Meanwhile, Moraes lifts this one to right, and Keith has it for the out. Out number 1. Castillo in left, Pittman in center, Keith in right. For the Bucs, Rapetti starts at third, Spahn at short, Cruz at second, Hansen at first, the battery, Bijani behind the plate, and Alex Schreier on the mound, and he will work to Jose Mesa, first pitch in the dirt. Everybody will be moving, though, for the Bucs. So the defense will be shifting around, as has been the case here throughout the tournament. 1 ball and 1 strike, the count now on Mesa.
I feel like more with the Bucs, it's organized chaos.
Well, they did give us the advance notice of who would be moving where. 1 ball and 2 strikes now on Mesa. Mesa earlier today 0 for 2. Moves up in the order as he was batting down near the bottom of the order against SoCal earlier today. Fastball, low a ball, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Mesa attends Avila University in Missouri, Jeff, out your neck of the woods. Are you familiar with Avila University?
You will be stunned to learn I'm not.
I think between 2 of us, we both heard of a lot of schools, but that one evades us.
Yeah. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Mesa. That's interesting to see some of the choices covering sports in the area, as we both have, seeing some of the players that we get to see and get to know over our time covering this team or that, and see some very interesting choices, guys who go to schools certainly that you've never heard of in different parts of the country, and all good experience, of course, for many, many years ahead of someone like Jose Mesa. 3 balls and 2 strikes. The count now. Payoff pitch. Swing and a miss. And Mesa down on strikes. 2 up, 2 down quickly for Schreier. We saw Schreier last weekend as well against Inland Valley for a stretch. Another one of the very good arms for the Bucs. You saw Schreier finishing up at Cal Santa Barbara. An ERA just over 2 and very short work in this shortened season for the Gauchos. 4 1/3 innings, allowing just 1 run. And you know, Schreier will get a little more work in here at the Best of the West tournament before heading back to Cal Santa Barbara, hopefully for a full season next season. No balls and 2 strikes quickly on Thomas. Schreier ready. Just got a piece.
The game prior to this one, Thomas was aboard twice, but made it the hard way. He was hit by a pitch twice.
Yeah, Thomas looking for his first plate appearance of the day where he's not beaned Here's the 0-2. And when tails outside, they'll appeal down, and Thomas did hold up a ball and 2 strikes. Yeah, that's a tough way to get on base a couple times. The 1-2 pitch. High chopper foul.
Starting at third base in this one, he came on as a defensive replacement at first base. He made a dazzling play in the game prior to this. So a versatile fielder, could play first or third.
He'll be followed if he can keep the inning alive by Jonathan Combs, who hit the ball hard a couple of times in the game earlier today. Here's the 1-2. Just outside. Well, we talked about the good at bat from J.J. Cruz, leading to a well-hit ball, a triple, and another run for the Bucs. And now Thomas having a pretty good at bat battling Schreier, and he fouls another one off. See if Thomas can turn the tables for the Waves. Schreier ready, has the one he likes. Here's the pitch. Just outside. Full count now. All the way back from 0-2.
Tough pitch to take.
Schreier working quickly. Here's the payoff. Bouncing ball left side. It's Rapetti, who will go to first to retire the side. 3 up, 3 down for Schreier. We're through 1. The Bucs on top of the Waves, 3-0. The inaugural Best of the West tournament from San Bernardino. Here on SoCalCollegeSports.com, brought to you by Future Events Group. Max Miller, Austin Shell, Michael Marsh due up for the Bucs in the top of the second. You'll see Bucs with the 3-0 lead. Chandler Cameron back on the mound to work his second inning for the Waves. And there is Max Miller playing ball at Cal State Fullerton. First pitch in there for a strike to Miller.
All right, Jeff, let's play a little trivia. You ready? Name the only 2 pitchers in Major League Baseball history to retire after a 20-win season.
I'm not ready.
Well, that's all right. We're going to give you some time to think about it. We'll give you the answer in the bottom half of the second.
No balls and 2 strikes. May I say, well played. Inside a ball, 1 ball and 2 strikes on Miller last Sunday night. Miller 1 for 4 in the loss to Inland Valley. And a terrific matchup between those 2 teams that saw the Bucs take a late lead, only to have Inland Valley come back in the 9th to win that one. Swing and a miss, and Miller down on strikes to start the second.
Well, it's a good start for Cameron after a rough first inning. It's the leadoff man to begin the second.
Something of a microcosm of the earlier game in general, where the Waves really struggled in the first 5 innings, gave up a big lead, and then seemed to settle down in the latter stretches and pitch much better in the last few innings. Unfortunately, they weren't able to do much cutting into the lead and ultimately lost 9-2. But a lot of struggle early, and then they seem to relax and find their way. Here is Austin Shell. The 1-0 pitch. Swing and a miss. A nice job by Cameron pulling the string.
Well, I know the Waves have dropped 6 out of 7 in this tournament, but they do play hard. It's a young roster full of a lot of JC guys, but they will not quit.
Line drive, base hit. So Shell with a 1-out single. Already the 5th hit of the game for the Bucs. And this their first trip through the order. And get a look. Yeah, breaky ball a little up in the zone. And up and down these lineups that you see with these teams that have so many players playing D1, you just cannot afford to make a mistake. Miss one up in the zone. And these hitters will jump on it. Swing and a miss. No balls and a strike now on Michael Marsh. For those that might not be aware, Michael Marsh, if you see the number looks a little different. Marsh wearing a different jersey tonight. So, donning the number 38, and we have been informed that is Michael Marsh.
That is. He did a late switcheroo on us.
Tried to. Keeping us on our toes. No balls and a strike. Well, it was Marsh that was a principal in one of the outstanding plays of the tournament as he drove a ball for extra bases last week in the game Sunday night against Inland Valley, and it looked for all the world this could be 2. Over to second for 1. The relay in time, and they double up Marsh to retire the side. We'll get to more about Michael Marsh a little bit later on. Meanwhile, no runs, 1 hit, no errors, and nobody left. We head to the bottom of the second with the Bucs on top of the Waves 3-0 at the Best of the West tournament here from San Bernardino. Here's the pitch. Line drive up the line, fair ball. Marsh rounding first. This one goes all the way to the wall. Marsh gonna head to third. And the throw comes in. They got him! Boy, it looked like Marsh was going to make it easily. But let's watch the relay. And coming right at you. And it's Koo. And there you see the tag by Modholmes, Bailey, and
the
Zitko
relay throw from
as
Jordan
Schreier
Koo
back on the mound to work his second inning. Little roller out in front of home plate, and it's Schreier who will take it to retire Combs. 1 pitch, 1 out here in the second. Well, between innings, just to finish the point, you saw a replay of the play I was talking about from last Sunday night as Marsh drove one to right field for extra bases and running hard all the way. It looked like he was going to be able to stretch it into a triple, but a great job by the Pirates in the field getting it out of right field, and the relay in time to get Marsh on a bang-bang play at third. Very exciting play and a very close game that ultimately went to Inland Valley that last Sunday night. 1 ball and no strikes on Liam Bailey. Bouncing ball in the hole, sliding stop for Cruz, but he's got no one to throw to, and Bailey will be aboard. Should go down as an infield hit.
Yeah, Schreier was late getting off the mound to cover first base, and I think Cruz wisely eats the throw.
Yeah, they may not get him anyway. Bailey getting down the line. even with a throw. And Cruz elects to hold it. And the Waves with a base runner, 1 down, and Zitko will be the batter. Griffin Zitko starting behind the plate tonight. Moves up into the 5 spot. Bailey away from first. First pitch outside a ball. Zitko at the bottom of the order, 0 for 1 earlier today. You see a freshman at Cal Lutheran. Did have a walk. Schreier ready. Fastball on the outside corner, called strike 1.
Jeff, prior to the game earlier, I was talking with Griffin Zitko. He goes, hey, you guys got to update my height and my weight. I'm not 5'6", $150. He goes, I've actually grown 3 inches, and I put on about 15 pounds. So I said, I promise I will give you a shout-out and let everybody know you're 5'9", 165.
Yeah, at 5'5", let me just say congratulations on that 5'9" thing. 1 ball and 2 strikes now on Zitko. You know, it's worth pointing out as we watch Zitko foul that one off, a ball and 2 strikes. Again, it highlights that how quickly this was ultimately put together and how many people work so hard to try and gather all the information that we need, get everything together, and get this off the ground. You know, a few weeks ago, this was still very much in doubt. This was something that maybe wasn't going to happen. It happened just that quickly that they put it together, and that's a lot of very hard work by a lot of people. Called strike 3, Zitko down on strikes. So Schreier fans Zitko for out number 2, and that'll bring up Teicher. First pitch from Schreier is outside a ball. Teicher at Cal State San Marcos. Ground ball into right field, a base hit just under the glove of Cruz. Bailey going to hold up at second. So runners at first and second now with 2 out. And they will go ahead and give Teicher a base hit. So 2 down, 2 on, and Mitch Morales coming to the plate. Well, here come the Waves. See if Morales can pick up a hit here. 2-out hit to the outfield.
They stranded 6 in their first game. Scoring opportunity right here.
And there you see Morales on his way to Utah Valley, and the first pitch a strike for Schreier. And you make the point earlier, Dennis, and we're saying that the Waves battling uphill for a lot of this tournament so far, but battling each inning. Outside, another snap throw down. They got him! And they do! Bijani catches Teicher off of first to retire the side. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, 1 left on base. As we head to the third, we'll give you a look at Bijani. And Teicher caught in no man's land. Top of the third, and the Bucs leading it 3-0. It'll be Nick Hansen, and then the top of the order, Harrison Spahn and Chad Castillo. Some confusion on the pitcher. We have Brian Hazelwood, the left-hander out of Palomar College, on the mound. Swing and a miss for Hansen. No balls and a strike. Up the third base line and a foul ball. Quickly, no balls and 2 strikes on Hansen. Bring back up the trivia question.
All right, Jeff, name the only 2 pitchers in Major League Baseball history to retire after a 20-win season.
Listen, before we unveil the answers, I'd like to point out that when offered the multiple choice, I did get it right.
You did indeed.
I had no chance to just pull it out, but when you gave me the multiple choice, the memory clicked in, so we can unveil the answer there. When we're ready, and the fastball misses inside a ball. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Hansen leading off the third.
Should we see who it is? Who they are, I should say.
How'd you do on this one?
I think
when you read the question, how'd you
I
do?
think I actually got this one right. It was part of a 38-question quiz, and I think I got 16 total, and I think this might have been one that I did get correct.
A wave and a miss. You got both of them right. I'm impressed. That's it's pretty good. You see a good curveball from Hazelwood, getting Hansen for out number 1. And that'll bring up Spahn. He led things off with a double back in the first. And there is Spahn over at Cal Baptist. Not too far down the road. First pitch from Hazelwood in there for a strike. And there are the answers. Huh?
Sandy Koufax and Mike Mussina. Mussina, of course, playing with the Yankees and the Orioles. And
I don't think he didn't. I don't think he. Did he have a 20-win season with the Orioles? Line drive, base hit for Spahn, who's now 2 for 2. I know he got close. But I'm not sure that he had 20 wins. But yeah, late he went to the Yankees and
got a lot of run
support season. Yeah,
with the Yankees.
Well, it's we're talking early to mid 2000s there. Everybody was getting a lot of run support, I think, then.
How different it would be now if a pitcher retired after a 20-win season with social media. It would be unheard of.
Well, we were wondering about Sandy Koufax doing it and theorizing that, of course, at that time he probably had to go get a real job and find some money in the private sector. He just couldn't make any money playing baseball anymore. 1 ball and no strikes the count on Castillo, who flied to left his first time up. They'll go to first. Spahn back.
Castillo's got some pop in that bat. He's one of 2 players to homer in this tournament.
I was going to say, if my memory was right, last weekend, I believe, in one of the day games, Castillo took 1 out. In the dirt. Spahn going to break for second. The throw down, they'll never get him. Not sure if that'll go down as a wild pitch or a stolen base. Looked like a little bit of both. But Spahn at second, and the count now 2 balls and no strikes on Castillo. Hazelwood going to step off and now get himself ready. And that was just question number 1 of the Dennis trivia tonight. Before I get going on all the 80s. All the 80s minutia that I brought in for you guys. The left-hander Castillo digs in. 2 balls and no strikes the count. Hazelwood from the belt. Here's the pitch. Off speed, outside, 3 balls and no strikes. Hazelwood does have first base open, but you got Bajani, Keith, Cruz due up the heart of the order. Don't want to be putting runners on. Here's the 3-0. Caught the outside corner. 3-1 on Castillo. Castillo's pitch fouled away. And he works it back to a full count with Spahn at second and 1 down. And there is Brian Hazelwood, one of many Waves players playing or heading to Palomar in the area. Payoff pitch. Lifted into left. Campbell under it. And misplays it. It's going to get away from Campbell. And Spahn's going to easily come around to score as Castillo ends up at second. That should go down as an error on Mason Campbell out in left field. And though they have tapered off somewhat, you do continue to see some players struggling with the conditions here. But it looked like that was one of the Campbell just seemed like he closed the glove a little early.
Yeah, I wonder if he lost it in the lights, but I'm not quite sure.
Didn't appear to lose it. Maybe just took his eye off it, but either way, a gift run for the Bucs, who now push it to 4-0. And they have a runner at second. And the batter will be Bajani. And he takes the first pitch for a ball. Bouncing ball to third. Thomas going to go to first and retire Bajani for out number 2. On the play, Castillo will stay at second. That'll bring up Keith. He grounded to short his first time up. Fly ball right field coming on at Zubo, and he's got it to end the inning. But not before the Bucs take advantage of an error. 1 run, 1 hit, 1 error, 1 left on base. And we head to the bottom of the third with the OC Bucs on top of the San Diego Waves 4-0 at the inaugural Best of the West tournament. Brought to you by Future Events Group. Here's the pitch. Line drive up the line, fair ball. Marsh rounding first. This one goes all the way to the wall. Marsh gonna head to third. And the throw comes in. They got him! Boy, it looked like Marsh was going to make it easily. But let's watch the relay. And coming right at you. And it's Koo And there you see
he
the
got
tag by Modlin.
How about the relay throw from Jordan Koo? Unbelievable.
Heading to the bottom of the third, Mitch Morales, Caden Zubo, and Mason Campbell due up against new pitcher right-hander Jake Lopez. So Lopez slated to work the third inning for the Bucs, as Morales stands in from the right side, and you see Lopez, another one of the players here in the tournament. We spent some time at Orange Coast College in Costa Mesa. First pitch, swing and a miss from Morales. Morales at the plate when last inning ended. Teicher picked off. So lead off the third. Lopez pitch in the dirt. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Morales 0 for 3 in that first game today.
Fly ball right center, long run. Keith moving over. And he'll have to take this one on the hop. Base hit for Morales to lead things off in the third. And you see Morales placing it well.
What's the old adage? Hit them where they ain't.
And that'll bring up Zubo. Lopez ready. Chopper foul. No balls and a strike.
First time they've had the leadoff man aboard. Let's see if they can do something with it.
Put a couple on last inning before the pickoff from Bajani ended the threat. Waves trailing it 4-0 here in the bottom of the third. Fastball inside. Count evened up at a ball and a strike. And we get the advance notice on the lineup. Lopez scheduled to go 1 inning. It'll be Mason McGarvey then on for a 2-inning stretch starting in the 4th for the Bucs. There goes the runner. Throw down and the tag, and it gets away. So Morales swipes second. The pitch, a called strike. So it's a ball and 2 strikes, and boy, that was a close play. And if Cruz is able to come up with that one cleanly, might have had Morales. But it bounces free, and Morales is at second. Still nobody out here in the bottom of the third. Here is the 1-2 to Zubo. Outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, if that's the first stolen base for the Waves in 2 games.
Yeah, we talked about how aggressive and efficient Inland Valley has been on the base paths in this tournament. That's certainly been a storyline in the Waves. Partially a lack of as many opportunities, but they have not been as aggressive. Slow roller up the first base line, and Hansen will take it himself to retire Zubo, but on the play, Morales advances to third. Well, there you go, stolen base and a ground ball to the right side, and this is right out of the Inland Valley playbook. Now let's see if the Waves can get a ball in play here to push a run across. Mason Campbell will be the batter. A runner at third now with 1 out. Swing and a miss. No balls and 1 strike on Campbell. Ricardo Yokiwa waits on deck as you get a good look at the left-handed hitting Mason Campbell. The 0-1 from Lopez. Off speed, outside, a ball.
See if Campbell can drive home a runner after making that egregious error in the top half of this inning, allowing a run to score. Yeah, trying to pick himself and his teammates up here.
Line drive into right field, a base hit. So Campbell comes through with an RBI single, and the Waves are on the board. Well, you like to see that from that young man.
Absolutely.
Good at bat, and we'll get a look at the replay here. And good job getting around on the pitch on the inside corner. And he drives it to right for a base hit. Lopez misses outside with the fastball. 1 ball and no strikes on Ricardo Yokiwa. And you see Ricardo playing ball at Point Loma Nazarene. There's another one in the Avila school. Not too familiar with that one.
We've also seen him on the mound in this tournament, a very versatile player. Can also play the outfield.
Yep. The nickname is Yo-Yo, and you wonder if maybe that has a little something to do as he kind of yo-yos over the field. He's all over the place. Multiple positions, pick off at first, not in time.
Wow, how did Campbell get back?
Had Campbell definitely leaning the wrong way, and a good move from Lopez. Well, let's see what kind of a lead Campbell takes now. Now, he's getting out there pretty good. Maybe he thinks I've seen the best move. I've seen what he's got. Not going, and the breaking ball outside. 2 balls and a strike on Yokiwa. Just caught the tail end there. And see if we'll wind this one back. But I'll tell you, that is a great job getting to the far edge of the bag, and that might have been all that allowed Campbell to be safe there, was sliding to that very far corner of the bag away from the tag of Hansen. And that's just a heady play and good coaching. Fastball low. 3 balls and a strike on Yokiwa. Let's correct the count. It's 3 balls and 2 strikes. So here is the payoff pitch. Lifted into right center on the run. Keith, he's not going to get it. Cuts it off short of the track. Campbell rounding third, and they're going to hold him up. It's a 1-out double for Yokiwa. So Lopez in some trouble here in the bottom of the third. Another well-hit ball, this off the bat of Yokiwa. So the Waves with 2 runners in scoring position, still only 1 out. And Ethan Ellis, the extra hitter tonight, coming to the plate. Swing and a miss. Lopez went to the gas. There is Ellis at Cal State San Marcos. Another fastball from Lopez. This one misses low. 1 ball and 1 strike. Lopez tries the curveball, misses. 2 balls and a strike, and now you wonder if Lopez starting to overthrow a little bit. Missed with the fastball, a little bit up in the zone with the breaking ball. Still has the 4-1 lead, but the Waves getting something going here in the bottom of the third.
And Jeff, if you're Ellis, you have just got to get that runner home from third with less than 2 outs. You're down 4-1, trying to chip away at that lead right here.
Even more so in this kind of situation with just 1 out, but the infield playing back. If you can get this ball in play, it's going to get the job done. So even more pressure on Ellis to find fair territory. 2-2 pitch. Inside a ball. 4 of the last 5 hitters for the Waves have reached. Sky high on the infield. Hansen has it for the out. In the words of Major League, Ethan, I don't think this one's got the distance.
Unfortunately for the Waves, can't drive home that runner from third.
And that'll leave it up to Dylan Morris. Fly to right, back in the first. Check that. It's Joey Hawk. So one more batter before the Waves turn it over. And here is Hawk. And the first pitch from Lopez in there for a strike. And now if you're Lopez, any kind of an out you can come up with, and you get out of the jam without too much damage done. I think he would take 1 run right now. The 0-1 to Hawk. In the dirt. Count evened up. A ball and a strike.
Hawk hit leadoff in the first game for the Waves against the Hitmen. He was 0 for 2 it into a double play. Also was hit by a pitch.
Yeah, it looked like Mike Studer just kind of flip-flopped the lineup a little bit, and he's going to give some guys at the bottom of the order a little more of a chance up near the top tonight. Fastball in there for a strike. And now it's a ball and 2 strikes on Hawk. And there's good location from Lopez. Here's the 1-2 to Hawk. Inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes the count. A lot of pitches for Lopez this inning. You wonder how many more batters the Waves will get. 2-2 pitch. Off speed, misses low. On deck, Micah Anselmo. And the Waves going with a Pirate-esque 14 batters in the lineup here tonight. Way high, and Hawk works a walk. That'll load him up, and Anselmo will come to the plate. Anselmo 1 for 2 earlier today with a double in the loss to SoCal. He had a cut.
Trying to make it 4-all or even 5-4 in favor of the Waves with that swing.
Wouldn't that be something? Well, Anselmo definitely has the power to clear the bases. So danger here for Jake Lopez and the OC Bucs. No balls and 1 strike the count. Anselmo holds up, takes that for a ball. Lopez kicks and delivers on the outside corner. A ball and 2 strikes now on Anselmo. Anselmo getting the night off from the field here tonight, one of the extra hitters. Catcher by trade. The 1-2 pitch. Just low for a ball.
Lopez thought he had strike 3. He was headed towards the dugout.
We'll have a pretty good look at it here. Well, I'll tell you, that looked a little low to me, but I've seen that called a strike here this tournament.
But Johnny did a nice job trying to frame it.
2 balls and 2 strikes. And now we're ready. Here's the pitch. He's able to just get a piece. So Anselmo still alive. It's shaping up to be a power versus power battle between the power hitting Anselmo and Lopez, giving him steady diet of fastballs. The 2-2 pitch.
Ooh.
High and tight. Full count now.
So now you wonder, Jeff, with the runners going, anything hit into the alley could clear the bases.
We have already seen a few extra base hits here tonight. We're only at the bottom of the third. Payoff pitch into right. That's a base hit. 1 run will score. It gets by Keith. This may clear the bases. It will. Anselmo rounding second. He's still going. Heads into third, standing up. They're going to wave him in. Here comes the throw. It's cut off. The play at the plate. He's safe.
Why did Hansen cut off the throw? I'll never know.
Well, you watch the replay here, and that'll roll over the inning, incidentally, but the Waves come all the way back, and I don't think there's any question at all but that they're going to get Anselmo by a mile at the plate, but miscommunication, and Lopez clearly not locating the runner, elects to cut it off, and that allows Anselmo to score. And as we head to the fourth, the Waves have come all the way back, and they now lead it 5-4. You are watching the inaugural Best of the West tournament from San Bernardino, brought to you by Future Events Group. Brand new ball game as we head to the top of the fourth, and the Waves with a 5-run third now lead it 5-4. Brian Hazelwood back on the mound to work his second inning. He will work to Cruz, Rapetti, and Pittman. And for those scoring along at home, we're also up to trivia question number 2 on the night. Another one of Dennis's fine research here as he came up with trivia questions that significantly and sufficiently humbled me in short order. 2 balls and no strikes. And let's take you back to last inning to a very close play while we were talking about being the cutoff and whether or not Anselmo would have been out or not. The play was also very close at the plate, and we're able to freeze frame right there on the tag, and that is incredibly close. But if that foot is not down, then it looks like the tag might have just beaten him either way. He was called safe, but a very, very close play. And right now, that's the difference. Fly ball right field, Zubo under it and has it to retire Cruz for out number 1 here in the 4th. Well, prescient words, Dennis, when you talked about how the Waves, far from being intimidated by the competition here at the Best of the West tournament, have continued to battle, have never stopped battling these teams. And who would have thunk it? They dug themselves a quick 4-0 hole, but they came back and lead at 5-4. Why don't you read the trivia question for us real quick?
All right, name the pitcher to win 20 games with both the Mets and the Yankees. And we'll have the answer coming up a little later.
And I might have had a shot at this one. But again, I was introduced to the multiple choice. They slowed it down for me, and then I was able to get it. But I don't think I would have gotten it of my own mind on this one. I think I did need the multiple choice help, but an interesting question nonetheless. Breaking ball back to the screen. This is a ball. So 2 balls and no strikes. The count now on Rapetti, who singled his first time up.
And that is my final trivia question of the night.
Not to worry, my friend. I got a lot for you. We don't have all of them written down. We have finite resources. Our producer and director, Mike Cepeda, he's only working on about 10,000 things before a broadcast. So
should we make it a multiple choice?
He got to 3.
Should we make it a multiple choice on the trivia question?
You know, I got to tell you, in my experience with trivia, people nail this stuff. Someone's probably already got it, but no, we can keep it challenging. We have a pretty knowledgeable audience for most of our games that have little trouble dispatching our questions. Here's the 2-0. Breaking ball again high, 3 balls and no strikes as Hazelwood continues with an assortment of off-speed stuff. The Bucs looking up on the scoreboard here in the 4th. Big swing and a miss from Rapetti. They've just gotten the foul tip. 3 balls and a strike, and it looked like Rapetti had the green light. All 3-0, and he was thinking about 5-5. And there is a look at the left-hander, Hazelwood. Here's the delivery. Back to the screen. And Hazelwood gives you a little bit of that that Tom Glavine style feel from the left hand. Nothing overpowering about the stuff, but he keeps it down in the zone and he throws it to you. It gives you a little bit of off speed and then a little bit of more off speed to keep you off balance.
Location,
and you see there, yeah.
Location.
And Rapetti with that pitch, not a whole lot he could do with it. Really, just fouled it back to the screen. There was that pitch low and inside. You're not going to really be able to drive that ball anywhere. So very well located from Hazelwood. Another ball fouled back to the screen, and the count stays full on Rapetti. I think my experience tells me that they'll get this one. If you give them a little bit of time, the trivia on this one. This is back through the box, a base hit for Rapetti. So a nice piece of hitting for Rapetti, who's now 2 for 2 on the night. Well, this is what you got to do against a pitcher like Hazelwood. That one on the outside plate, outside part of the plate, and Rapetti just takes it right back up the middle for a clean single. And that'll bring up Pittman. And there's Porter continuing to try and hide from us. Way high. And a nice job by Zitko to go up and get that one. 1 ball and no strikes on Pittman. He walked to end the first as the inning was rolled over with the Bucs still going. At that time, they had a 3-0 lead. You wondered if that was going to be enough. But the Waves said, not so fast. A throw over to first. And Rapetti back. 1 on, 1 out here in the top of the 4th. See the outfield, I should say, shade in a couple of steps for Pittman. On opening weekend, Dennis, I think we both were struck by outfields across the board playing pretty shallow in these games. And we've seen that here tonight, but throughout these weekends, burn them on occasion. And some balls into the gap, get all the way to the wall. As the outfield shading in a little bit, trying to take away some base hit opportunities. 2 balls and no strikes and another throw over, and Rapetti back standing up.
This Park plays big to the alleys in center field as well. We mentioned 410 to straightaway center. It's 330 down each line. But then it really jets out.
Yeah, the ball will carry, especially during the day. You can get one out of here, but we've seen at least 1 home run at night. Foul territory on the right side, and Mesa not able to catch up to it.
I think if that screen wasn't there, perhaps the first baseman, Mesa, might have had a play on it.
2 balls and a strike.
That screen is down there to protect the catchers. The bullpens are in the playing field here at San Manuel Stadium. It's a nice facility for single A stadium. Seats about 8,000.
Home of the 66ers.
Single A affiliate of the Angels.
Here's the 2-1. And Hazelwood working inside, and that one fouled back to the screen. So 2 balls and 2 strikes on Pittman. See Hazelwood not afraid to bust that one inside to good effect on Pittman. Pittman will be playing in the high school all-star game tomorrow for OC as he finishes up his high school career. Ground ball to short, double play ball. The relay in time. 6-4-3. Hazelwood and the Waves out of the inning. No runs, 1 hit, no errors. Nobody left on base heading to the bottom of the 4th. The Waves on top of the Bucs. 5-4. It's the 2020 Best of the West tournament from San Bernardino, brought to you by Future Events Group. Top of the order due up for the Waves in the bottom of the 4th. Dylan Mores, Jose Meza, Drew Thomas against new pitcher right-hander Mason McGarvey for the Bucs. With the Waves leading at 5-4. Excuse me, it's left-hander Mason McGarvey. Correct that very quickly. Fastball high to Mores to get things started here in the bottom of the 4th. Mores flied to right his first time up. Some changes in the field as well for the Bucs, who will shake things up here for the middle innings. And we'll try to get to some of that for you as well. Fastball high again from McGarvey. Pittman in right. Damon Keith moves to center. Max Miller now in left for the Bucs. The 2-0 to Morris. Good fastball for a strike. Harrison Spahn now at third. J.J. Cruz at short. Michael Marsh at second. Hanson remains at first. Austin Shell behind the plate. And Mason McGarvey on the mound. Swing and a miss. Morris had a cut at the fastball. Count evened up. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Got him. Another fastball from McGarvey. And he fans Morris to start the 4th. Well, there's that low strike that we have talked about, Dennis. And you get that one right around the knees. Bring it up a little bit. You're going to get that called strike, and that's great location from McGarvey. And Meza will be the batter as you get a quick look at our trivia question. Name the pitcher who has won 20 games in both a Met and Yankee uniform.
Not that long ago.
No, this was something of a contemporary for you and me. If that
there you go.
If that offers some kind of a clue. No balls and 2 strikes. So Meza in a hole. McGarvey ready. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. Meza down on strikes. Back-to-back strikeouts here in the 4th for McGarvey. And in fact, 6 consecutive strikes thrown by McGarvey as well after a couple of balls to get things started. And now he's dealing. And he'll work now to Drew Thomas with 2 down and the bases empty. First pitch, and Thomas a wave and a miss. And it looks to me, as I watch McGarvey, this is, again, pretty liberal use of the fastball here from McGarvey. Just rocking and firing.
And effective.
And another big swing and a miss. It's got to be a nice feeling on the mound when you got the ability to reach back and just throw it by somebody when you need to. 0-2 on Thomas. McGarvey's pitch. He struck out the side. 3 up, 3 down. We're heading to the 5th with the Waves on top of the Bucs 5-4 at the inaugural Best of the West tournament from San Bernardino here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. New pitcher Matt Villiani on for the Waves as we head to the top of the fifth. He will face Max Miller, Austin Shell, and Michael Marsh for the Bucs, who trail it 5-4. And there is Miller. Finished up a shortened season at Cal State Fullerton. And Villiani out of El Camino High School. Into the wind, his first pitch misses high, a ball. Believe this is our first look at Matt Villiani. I know, Dennis, you've been here for every pitch so far. I don't know if we've seen Villiani yet. He's down now 2 balls and no strikes to Miller.
No, he has not made an appearance. So let's see how he handles this Bucs lineup.
He starts with Miller. Misses with the fastball. And he's gone 3-0 on Miller. See if Miller has a green light if he sees one he likes. Here on a 3-0 count. Villiani's pitch. Swing and a miss. And it looks to me, not in every situation, but like the general rule here at the Best of the West tournament is if you like it on 3-0, you can go ahead and take a cut.
I would concur. More times than not, players swinging away at 3-0.
Well, in a showcase, you want to get out there and have a crack at hitting the ball. Three and one on Miller.
Whoa.
And back to the screen. Missed with the breaking ball.
He slipped right out of his hand.
I'll give you the paraphrase of the great Major League. Just a bit inside. Tried the corner and missed. So Miller aboard. And there is the trivia question. You want to read that one more time, or?
All right, name the pitcher to win 20 games with both the Mets and the Yankees, and it is right-hander David Cone.
Oh, how quickly they forget.
Yes.
I know the year he did it with the Mets. And I don't exactly remember. I imagine it was one of the World Series years in the 90s with the Yankees. I don't think it was 96. Maybe 98?
Al Leiter also came to mind. El Duque, Doc Gooden.
Yeah, Doc Gooden, who got a guess up here in the booth from the always astute Mike Zapata. And he was half right. Doc did it in a Met uniform. You were almost there.
Doc threw a no-no for the Yankees.
He did throw a no-hitter, absolutely. A ball and no strikes. 2-0 now on Shell. A base hit his first time up. I'm wondering if maybe Cone even did it before they started winning the World Series. I lose track in the 90s of when he was there, but maybe he was there more toward the early to mid-90s. 3 balls and no strikes. You can tell that the OCD part of me just wants to go to my computer right now and head to Baseball Reference.
I'm going to beat you to it.
And look that up. Well, we know it wasn't 94.
No.
Because of the strike, but maybe 95? They were pretty bad in 93 and 92. I don't know if they really could, if they could support a 20-game winner. Meanwhile, Shell walks on 4 pitches, and the Bucs quickly go to work here in the top of the 5th. 2 on, nobody out. Back-to-back walks for Villiani, and now Michael Marsh will be the batter. He grounded into a double play to end the 2nd inning, his first time up. And I don't think it was 96. Remember that year pretty well. So maybe it was right after that. I know Dennis is going to take advantage of modern technology and get the answer pretty quickly. Meanwhile, Villiani misses again. 1 ball and no strikes on Marsh. And Villiani continues to struggle with his control. Now Marsh had 2 balls and no strikes, and when we talked about the free swinging ethos of the tournament here so far for these teams in a showcase event, but you have to wonder if a little bit of baseball strategy does come into play. Might you take a pitch or two, but Marsh is swinging this one just out of play, but I would have been tempted at 2-0 there if I'm Marsh to make Viliani throw a strike and leave the bat on the shoulder until he can get one over. I sense we have an answer on the Cone question.
We do. How about this? David Cone in 1988 was 20-3.
2.03. I knew that one.
But then again, he waited another 10 years to win 20 games.
Was it 98?
It was indeed. He was 20-7 at age 35.
I would like to point out just for a brief moment of glory that my first guess was 1998. That's on record here. The audio was up. My mic was up when I said 1998. 3 balls and a strike now. The count on Marsh with 2 on and nobody out. Swing and a miss.
Did you remember David Cone at the age of 38 pitched his final season? Beg your pardon, he pitched for the Red Sox in 2001.
I knew he pitched.
Did not play in 2002 and then had a cup of coffee with the Mets at age 40. 1-3 with a 6.50 ERA before calling it quits.
Well, unlike Mr. Koufax, I'm sure that Cone came back and got some pretty good money even at age 40.
Yes, he did.
To come back and pitch. Meanwhile, another walk. And now Viliani has walked the bases full here in the 5th. Still nobody out, and Hansen coming to the plate, and the Bucs working their way back into this one. Right now they trail at 5-4, but a big-time opportunity here to get that back and maybe grab the lead.
Yeah. Waves coach Mike Studer out there. Now, he will not even wait for the bullpen to get warmed up. He'll just go out to the mound sometimes and take out his pitcher, and someone will come out from the dugout. Doesn't look like that's going to be the case here. He's going to leave him in there.
Well, with Viliani, I think the first thing you got to do is you got to get him throwing some strikes.
Yeah, agreed.
Maybe just a chance to settle him down a little bit and say, hey, let's get a few over here and see how we do. As Hansen will be the batter. He struck out his first time up. I know that Cone was the Mets and then the Yankees, or Mets and then the Royals, and then the Yankees.
Well, that
and
played,
another ball from
it is
Viliani.
Dancing all over on him, isn't it?
Yeah. We've seen fastballs and a couple of breaking balls, but right now he's having trouble locating anything. He doesn't seem to have a pitch, at least one, that he can get over to at least try and build some confidence. This one all the way back to the screen, and that'll tie it up. The wild pitch brings home a run, and the Bucs pull even at 5-all. Meanwhile, both runners move up as well. So second and third, still nobody out. It's 2 balls and no strikes on Hansen.
Yeah, they haven't even put the ball in play in this inning.
Yeah, 3 straight walks, and Viliani still trying to get his bearings. He's ready. Here's the pitch on the left side and through for a base hit. This will score 1. They'll wave Marsh around. He will come around to score standing up, and the Bucs now lead it 7-5 after a 2-run single by Nick Hansen. Now this in the direction of Drew Thomas, but not much chance. A well-hit ball off the bat of Hansen. And the Bucs back out in front with Harrison Spahn coming to the plate. And he's perfect so far tonight, 2 for 2, a single and a double. Another pitch missing for a ball. And there is Spahn out of Cal Baptist. Another player playing just nearby at Cal Baptist.
He's had a nice night tonight. Couple of hits, scored a run, scored a pair of runs.
And he's ahead in the count now, 2 balls and no strikes. And Viliani gets the outside corner. 2 balls and a strike. Misses outside. Spahn, followed by Castillo and Bajani. We're in the top of the 5th. The Bucs have regained the lead 7-5. Line drive off the glove of Bailey into center field, a base hit. Big turn for Hansen at second, but he will hold there on the single by Spahn, who continues to swing a hot stick here tonight. He's now 3 for 3. Another well-hit ball off the bat of Harrison Spahn, who, let's face it, going all the way back to opening weekend has been impressive, swinging the bat. That'll bring up Castillo. He's 0 for 2. Flied out and reached on an error. That one inside, and it did get a piece of Castillo. First hit batsman of the night for the Bucs. And it will load the bases, still nobody out. And Bajani, who's 1 for 2 with a double, will be the batter for the Bucs. And now you go from thinking about taking the lead if you're the Bucs to potentially breaking this one open. And really grabbing control here. You already lead at 7-5, and the Bucs having their way with Matt Villani.
He is struggling out there, and you got to feel for the young man.
Well, it's a tough assignment, and it gets tougher when your location is failing you, and right now Villani getting himself behind in counts, and no sooner do I say that than he's able to get the foul ball from Bajani, and he gets ahead in the count here, no balls and 1 strike, and that's the first time since Villani's been on the mound that he's been ahead in the count. See how he works to Bajani, I should say, with the bases loaded. Bajani started to swing but holds up, takes the fastball high for a ball. One pitch, way outside. And the tough thing if you're Villani in this situation is against experienced hitters playing D1 college ball up and down this lineup. They're not going to let you off the hook by chasing a lot of bad pitches. And you see these Bucs hitters taking walks, taking balls as another ball gets back to the screen and another run will score. And that just makes the assignment even tougher against disciplined hitters.
They're going to make you earn everything out there.
4 runs on the board here in the 5th. It's an 8-5 lead after another wild pitch. 2nd and 3rd. The 3-1 pitch to Bajani. Ground ball to short. It gets through. They had the infield pulled in, and it gets by Morales. 2 more runs will score for the Bucs, who now lead it 10-5. And that will end the inning. Not sure if that's called. Well, it looks like they're leaving that as a hit for Bajani. Big inning for the Bucs. 6 runs on the board, and as we head to the bottom of the 5th, the Bucs back out in front, leading the Waves 10-5 at the inaugural Best of the West tournament here on SoCalCollegeSports.com, brought to you by Future Events Group. Combs, Bailey, and Zitko due up for the Waves, who find themselves trailing again as they go to work against left-hander Mason McGarvey, who will work his second inning for the Bucs. First pitch fouled away by Combs, who grounded to first his first time up. Swing and a miss. Combs quickly in a hole, no balls and 2 strikes. Well, we've really had ample opportunity to talk about how impressive the Pirate pitchers have been to us in our coverage of Inland Valley. And, well, I'll tell you, this performance by McGarvey so far ranks right up there. A short stint, but this is dominating stuff. A ball and 2 strikes after striking out the side in his first inning of work back in the 4th.
He has looked very impressive here this evening.
Here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss. 4 straight. Retired on strikes by McGarvey. And take a look here. That is nasty. The location of the pitch. A little late movement. And Combs down on strikes, and that'll bring up Bailey. He goes after the fastball and comes up empty. And there is a look at Liam Bailey. Also part of the program at Palomar Community College in the San Diego area. Called strike. No balls and 2 strikes. And McGarvey must be thinking about heading back to the dugout and saying, please let me have another inning. I got it going out here. Misses low and inside. Well, the scoreboard has it at a ball and a strike. I think I might have misplaced a pitch.
It is 1-2. You were.
Oh, it is 1-2,
correct, my friend.
Well, I'm not accustomed to thinking I'm right. That is really going to come.
I trust you.
Yeah. Just does not happen often enough. High heat from McGarvey, and Bailey can't catch up. 5 strikeouts. We're looking at the Carl Hubble, Doc Gooden territory here with the 6 straight strikeouts if he can get Zitko. I referenced the All-Star Game performances of those two.
You referenced some pretty impressive company, my friend.
Legendary stuff.
Oof.
And another pitch in there for a strike. No balls and a strike on Zitko. I think Zitko may be a little bit incredulous about the call, but thinking, hey, listen, this guy's going to be hard enough to hit as it is. You can give him the big strike zone, too. Here's the 0-1. And McGarvey pumps that one in there for a strike. That's a no-doubter, and now he's on top of Zitko. No balls and 2 strikes. And take a look again. That's just right down the middle. 0-2 pitch. And did that get a piece of? Well, it looks like it got a piece of. That should be Bajani back behind the plate. Got him maybe on the forearm.
Yeah, he looks like to be in some pain right now.
So 1 ball and 2 strikes. Now, McGarvey's been dealing out the pain to the Waves. And now to his own teammates. And that maybe got a piece of the handle of the bat, maybe, and then off of Bajani. Hard to tell there, but a little ricochet, and then off of that right forearm that's unprotected. And that's a great shot of it there. Yeah, down to that right hand. Yep, getting the signal. Yep, right hand, right forearm, right in that area. And you see it. We'll get a good look. That's a great job, guys.
Wonderful job by the crew.
Well, you just got to pad up the entire body, I guess, if you're going to get behind the plate.
Well, you never want to speculate, but you have so many small bones in your hands.
Yeah.
But we won't speculate. It looks like Bajani might be done.
Yeah, going to come out here, and will Shell come back and replace him. And it will be Austin Shell, who will come in to replace Bajani. And McGarvey will get a couple of extra tosses with the count 1 ball and 2 strikes on Griffin Zitko. here in the bottom of the 5th. And Shell, another Titan over at Cal State Fullerton. Garvey has mown down 5 in a row, all on strikes since coming on, and he's 1 strike away from ending this inning against Zitko. One-two pitch. Zitko just fights it off. Well, you wonder at some level on that Wave dugout if this will be a little bit of a victory if Zitko can just get one in play. 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball. Zitko went around.
No, they appealed. He said he did not.
Oh, okay. Started to run, but they'll go down to first, and the call that he held up, and we'll have a look here from the side. We'll have a great look at it here, and
oof,
pretty good.
I think he went
pretty
around.
Close, yeah.
He thought he went around. He was headed down towards first.
Yeah, sort of the reverse of when the batter tries to eke out the walk with the starting down there. And he said, well, I think he got me, but points for honesty. Just outside. And now the count goes full. 3 balls and 2 strikes on Zitko. McGarvey ready. Payoff, back to the screen. Zitko also quickly in a hole, no balls and 2 strikes, and he's worked it all the way back. This is a good job battling against McGarvey. Here's the pitch. Down he goes. On the outside corner. You can't paint it any better than that. A masterpiece from McGarvey over 2 innings. 6 batters faced, 6 strikeouts. We're through 5 complete. The Bucs on top of the Waves, 10-5. Here at the 2020 Best of the West Tournament on SoCalCollegeSports.com, brought to you by Future Events Group. Damon Keith set to lead things off for the Bucs here in the top of the 6th. They lead at 10-5. It'll be Keith followed by Cruz and Rapetti against right-hander Matt Villiani, who will work his 2nd inning for the Waves. And the first pitch misses outside for a ball. 1 ball and no strikes on Keith, who's 0 for 2. Grounded to short and flied to right. Chopper back up the middle, and it gets through for a base hit. So Keith didn't exactly knock the cover off the ball, but he placed it perfectly back up the middle for a base hit. I think Damon will take it. He's aboard with a leadoff hit here in the top of the 6th. And that'll bring up Cruz, who's 1 for 2. Tripled and flied to right. Squares to bunt, in the air and foul. Filiani from the belt. The 0-1 pitch is low. Let's correct that. It's 2 balls and no strikes. Cruz rips it to right for a base hit. Keith off on contact. He's going to make it to third standing up. Runners at the corners. Nobody out here in the top of the 6th. And the Bucs getting things going at the plate over the last inning plus against Viliani. And here the fastball a little up in the zone, and Cruz just doesn't miss it.
And I think that's going to be the end of the night. Mike Studer making his way out.
And we will have a pitching change with Rapetti coming to the plate. We'll step aside, come back, tell you about the new pitcher. For the Waves, momentarily, we're in the top of the 6th. Bucs leading at 10-5. It's the 2020 Best of the West tournament here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. New pitcher Ricardo Yokiwa on for the Waves, and he inherits runners at first and third. Still nobody out, and Rapetti, who's 2 for 2, coming to the plate for the Bucs. And there is Yokiwa, the junior at Point Loma Nazarene. The left-hander's first pitch misses high and away. 1 ball and no strikes. Just to add the question here to give it a little more. We didn't quite get the full thing on there. It's who am I? In the 1980s, I had a season in which I had 20 wins and a sub-2 ERA and didn't win the Cy Young Award. Dennis, I told you that I had a movie reference to that. Do you remember the movie Diner?
Oh, absolutely. That is a classic.
When they had the football quiz that they were giving to the fiancé.
Absolutely.
Before the marriage, and there's a great scene where they're reading the quiz questions to that poor young woman having to answer the football questions to get married. And there was a particularly tough question, and as that one is fouled away, they comment on how tough the question is, and the father rather proudly, the soon-to-be father-in-law rather proudly in the corner says, "That one was mine." As he was also contributing to the quiz. And I feel as though that one is like, once you get to the 80s, I was like, that question was mine.
I love the final scene, and they're at the wedding, and they're playing the Baltimore Colts fight song at the wedding. And
let's get serious here. We're talking about the championship game. Fouled away.
Very classy.
Steve Gutenberg, Paul Reiser.
Oh. Mickey
Daniel
Rourke.
Stern, yeah. Movies were movies.
Oh, that is a classic.
Well, I always think of that. I love that moment. That one was mine. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Rapetti. Yokiwa ready. Here's the pitch. Popped up in back of second. It's Bailey moving back to make the catch. The runners will hold. So Yokiwa comes in and retires Rapetti on the pop out. And for the moment, the score remains 10-5. And Porter Pittman will be the batter. He's walked and grounded into a double play. And Yokiwa would love to come up with a ground ball here against Pittman. Heading to New Mexico State this upcoming year. There goes the runner. Throw down. Now the runner will break for home. And the Bucs bring across another run as the ball goes into center field. Advancing to third is Cruz. The throw gets away again, but Cruz will stay. So does that go down as a double steal?
I was thinking perhaps a stolen base for Cruz
and
then
a
maybe
throwing error perhaps
on the catcher, yeah, to allow the run to score from third.
Well, it's interesting when you watch the replay is I think Keith was already going as that ball was on the way to second. I think it might have been designed to have him break for home. Should go down as a throwing error on the play. I don't know if they've updated that yet. As Cruz does advance to third as the throw gets away. Meanwhile, Pittman a swing and a miss, and he's in a hole, no balls and 2 strikes. The Bucs, meanwhile, have pushed the lead to 11-5 here in the top of the 6th. Inside, and it gets away from Zitko behind the plate. Cruz alertly is able to come home with another run. And the Bucs push the lead out to 12-5. A ball and 2 strikes meanwhile on Pittman. Yokiwa ready. Popped up back this way. It's going to stay in foul territory, but Meza, Zitko, Yokiwa all there, but nobody can come up with it. And it's another life for Pittman.
And that kind of epitomizes the way things have gone for the Waves here in this tournament.
Also see as we watch the tournament throughout, players struggling in foul territory. Seen a lot of balls drop in foul territory that ultimately might have been playable, but whether it's trouble with getting used to the surroundings, as that one's back up and over the box, whether it's getting used to the surroundings in terms of how much room you have or just picking up the ball in foul territory, it's hard to say, but that has been a struggle for the players. And another ball drops in foul territory. And we'll see if Pittman can take advantage of the second chance. Here's the 1-2. A little low. The 2-2 from Yokiwa. Misses high. Payoff pitch. Swung on and missed. Off speed from Yokiwa. And Pittman down on strikes for out number 2. Max Miller will be the batter, and see here again, that's a good job by Yokiwa. Off-speed pitch and Pittman out in front. First pitch to Miller, swung on and missed. Miller struck out and walked. 2 trips. Went after the heat. No balls and 2 strikes. Yokiwa doing a nice job now changing speeds. Seems to have loosened up to the last couple of batters in the dirt. A ball and 2 strikes on Max Miller. High and inside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 3 more games tomorrow. Do you know offhand what 2 games you got early, Dennis? Swung on and missed. Well, he got a half inning there to to think about it. If you didn't have that ready, Yokiwa strikes out Miller to retire the side, but a couple of runs on 2 hits for the Bucs. And as we head to the bottom of the 6th, the Bucs now lead at 12-5 here at the 2020 inaugural Best of the West tournament here on SoCalCollegeSports.com, brought to you by Future Events Group. New pitcher for the Bucs, right-hander Brett Finnell, will take over for McGarvey, who works 2 scoreless innings, retiring all 6 batters he faced, all on strikes. First pitch to Teicher is a ball, 1 ball and no strikes. It'll be Teicher, followed by Morales and Zubo for the Waves here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Finnell misses way outside. 2 balls and no strikes. Finnell slated to go 2 innings for the Bucs here tonight. I mentioned at the top of the inning what the schedule was for tomorrow. 3 more games, and Dennis will be here for the morning and afternoon game.
Actually, 2 afternoon games. The first pitch, 1 o'clock, will be the SoCal Hitmen. And these Bucs, followed by a 4 o'clock start. The Waves back at it. This time they'll be taking on the Pirates. And then you and I have got the high school all-star game. First pitch, 7:30.
I'm reliving my youth when I think of a 1 o'clock as a morning activity. A long, long time ago, but indeed, yeah. First pitch, 1 o'clock tomorrow, and 3 more games. Weekend number 3 of this 5-weekend event. And we have enjoyed bringing it to you, hoping you're enjoying the baseball here from San Bernardino. The bouncing ball to second. And Teicher retired to start the 6th. Meanwhile, it looks like that is Spahn, who has moved to second. Trying to keep track of who is where.
I believe, Jeff, that's the first time that the Waves have put a ball in play since the 3rd inning.
Yeah, that is what Mason McGarvey coming in there and throwing bullets will do. 1 ball and no strikes. Indeed, a dominating performance. as the batter is now Mitch Morales. That one well inside. Morales able to just get out of the way. And well, one up, one down for Finnell, but we've already seen one go all the way back to the screen, missing well to the outside, and now that one right in on Morales. And Finnell has come out a little bit wild, and now he's way down in the count, 3 balls and no strikes, working to Morales, who singled and scored back in the third, as the Waves put a 5 spot on the board to momentarily grab a 5-4 lead before the Bucs came storming back. Good fastball from Finnell. 3 balls and a strike. Is that a Photoshop screen I just saw go by? Here's the 3-1. Misses inside. You know how it is, Dennis. I just have to be concerned that I'm hallucinating. A 1-out walk for Morales. That'll bring up Zubo, who grounded to first his first time up.
Oof.
High and inside. And I think at this point, after watching a couple of these pitches, if you're the Waves hitters, you're not entirely comfortable really digging in. And they've all missed to that side, to the right-hand side of the plate for Finnell. Three pitches where he's been well out of the zone, and he pumps one in there for a strike, a ball and a strike. Sometimes you have the feeling from the pitching standpoint that a little wildness, maybe one pitch here and there, can really help you more than hurt you if you could somehow corral that or get some control of that.
He's high and tight again right there.
Yeah, 2 balls and a strike, and there's something to be said for the hitters not being overly comfortable up there against you. How to really have command of that, though, that's the real trick. And that one misses in the dirt. Nice job. Snap throw down. And the runner back. And Shell with a nice pick on the pitch from Finnell.
Got Griffin Teicher earlier in the game wandering a little bit too far off first base, and that was Bajani gunning him down.
Nearly had another one there. Swing and a miss. 1 down. Morales at first. And Zubo the batter.
Roger Clemens used to throw high and tight, but obviously it was an outstanding strikeout pitcher, unbelievable control.
Cold strike 3. And Finnell able to freeze Zubo and get the strikeout for out number 2. That'll bring up Campbell. And line drive into left, a base hit. So Campbell now 2 for 2. The base hit puts runners at first and second with 2 out, and Yokiwa, who doubled his first time up, will be the batter. And again tomorrow night, looking forward to the high school all-star game, Orange County All-Stars, Inland Empire All-Stars. And we will have our first pitch at 7:30, and looking forward to that. We've already seen a number of the players that will participate in that game throughout the tournament, but there are some players as well that will be joining the rosters for that game specifically moving forward. So we'll see some new faces as well, but an awful lot of talent on the field tomorrow night, and we are looking forward to that.
Should be a lot of fun.
Finnell ready. 1-1 pitch is low.
See if Yokiwa can help his own cause.
Yeah, this was the part of the order that he kind of started to get it going in the big third inning for the Waves. And they're going to need something similarly dramatic here to get themselves all the way back. The Bucs have gone on a run. Bouncing ball back up the middle, moving right. And it's Spahn who will take it himself to retire the side. The Waves threaten, but come up empty. No runs, 1 hit, no errors. 2 left on base. We're heading to the 7th inning. The Bucs leading the Waves 12-5 at the Best of the West tournament from San Bernardino. Brought to you by Future Events Group. Hey, can we, top of the 7th inning from San Manuel Stadium in San Bernardino. Shell, Marsh, and Hansen due up for the Bucs against Ricky Yokiwa back on the mound for the Waves. First pitch low for ball 1. Well, Dennis, have you thought about the trivia question a little bit? I know you had a couple of very, very good guesses.
I thought of somebody else as well. I know I mentioned, who did I mention originally? I think it's Steve Carlton. I know that was incorrect. I'm trying to think who else I went with when you presented the question before the broadcast.
Yeah, just to catch us up, Steve Rogers, very good guess.
Steve
I
Rogers,
remember that
yes.
one. And Greg Maddux was the initial guess, and that's a very good one.
That was with the Cubs late in the 80s.
Yeah, and he did have, I believe his breakout year was 88.
So I have one more guess.
All right.
I'm thinking mid-'80s with the St. Louis Cardinals, perhaps. Bob Forsch.
Oh! You were so close.
Oh.
You had the right team. I was all excited. I was out of my chair because you had the right team, and you came up with another very good pitcher, but no. It was not. It was not, and we're given the answer there.
John Tudor, the lefty.
Yes. Tudor with an ERA of 1.93 and 21 wins.
That is unbelievable.
And miraculously does not win the Cy Young because, for those that remember that year, that was the year that Gooden was just beyond unhittable and won 24 games and had an ERA of about 1.6. And there was just no way you could not give it to him that year in 1985.
John Tudor,
so
that's
an oddity.
Great.
Meanwhile, Shell appeared to draw the walk. And now he's heading back. He'll
do a pinch runner for
him?
Yeah,
he did draw the walk, and he will be replaced by a pinch runner, so presumably he can get ready to go back out in the field. Yeah, Tudor. I do so enjoy that question. It's so easy to forget what an unbelievable year. And talk about a year that would have been the Cy Young in pretty much any other season. Meanwhile, Marsh fouls off the first pitch, and it's no balls and a strike. And when we move forward here, we do have another trivia question. We don't have the graphic ready, but I'll try and introduce the question because I think it's a fun one to think about. Also, centering on the Cy Young Award up in the zone.
I'm going to give myself half credit for just getting the team. Can I do that? Is that okay?
Hey, listen, I give you a lot of credit just for the sheer number of very good pitchers from that era that you got that all made sense as possible answers to that question.
I was trying to go back. I'm like, okay, who went to the World Series and what year from the National League?
Yep.
And there's so many good Cardinal teams from the '80s under Whitey Herzog.
Indeed. And then we referenced this before. Swung on and lifted to right. Teicher, who has checked in, is under it and has it to retire Marsh for out number 1. Well, we started to make the point that there was another pitcher who had a very near miss under that criteria, going 20-3 with an ERA just a shade over 2 at 2.03, who also didn't win the Cy Young Award, and that goes back to the answer to our earlier trivia question, David Cone for the Mets in 1988, and again, victimized by a similarly ridiculous season. That time it was Oral Hershiser in 1988.
Gives me nightmares.
Having just the crazy season that you could not avoid giving him the Cy Young Award. So Coney almost did it in 1988. Inside for a ball. Two and 0. The count on Hansen. And Yokiwa's pitch misses away. And now Hansen way out in front. 3 balls and no strikes. He's 1 for 2, singled and struck out. Big swing and a miss. Hansen, as we have seen, green light 3-0. And he went after it. Tried to hold up there, but he went around. Count now full. Well, that's back-to-back high fastballs from Yokiwa. And Hansen has offered it both. Payoff pitch. Called strike 3. And Hansen knew it. Yokiwa just brings it down a touch. Locates the leather. And that's a great job by Ricky Yokiwa.
That could be it for Yokiwa.
Coming all the way back there from 3-0. Well, it's a solid job from Yokiwa in relief, retiring 5 of the 6 batters that he faced and striking out 3 in 1 2/3. So that is a tremendous job in relief, and he will be replaced. The new pitcher is Jesse Navarro. So Jesse Navarro becomes the 5th pitcher of the evening for the Waves. We'll step aside and rejoin you here from San Bernardino at the inaugural Best of the West tournament on SoCalCollegeSports.com. New pitcher Jesse Navarro on for the Waves with a runner at first and 2 down, and Harrison Spahn coming to the plate. Well, here's your assignment, Mr. Navarro. Harrison Spahn, who's just 3 for 3. A double and 2 singles, the first pitch. Swinging strike. No balls and a strike on Spahn, who has been sensational. Navarro just misses. A ball and a strike. Spahn been on 3 times, scored 3 runs. That's how you do it in the leadoff spot.
It is indeed.
Trying to prepare our next trivia question for you. Into right field, it'll drop in for a base hit. They'll hold the runner at second. Spahn stays perfect. A 4-hit day. How about Harrison Spahn? And doesn't really get all of this one, but muscles it into right field for a base hit.
Jeff, that's just good hitting. He sees a pitch, puts the bat on the ball.
Well, let's correct the year, but since 1980, 4 franchises have had back-to-back Cy Young Award winners, but not the same pitcher. This isn't a case of one pitcher winning in back-to-back years. Different pitchers, back-to-back years for the same franchise since 1980. I found 4, and so we're going with 4. I'm not going to swear that there haven't been more, but 4 times this has happened. So we'll let you chew on that one a little bit.
I might know one. If I can.
A ball and a strike.
Font Chad Castillo here.
The count on Castillo. Here's the pitch, fastball from Navarro in there for a strike. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
I think I might know 2.
I'm impressed. You might have to remind me of the pitchers. I got to tell you, one is pretty hard. I couldn't when I saw them, I'm like, wow, I might not have thought of that one. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, listen, if you want to offer up a guess, that's allowed. These questions go to you. 2-2 pitch inside.
I think the Athletics are one franchise.
That's a great guess, but did not happen.
Wow. I thought maybe Eckersley and maybe possibly Bob Welch.
I know what you're thinking. Yeah,
Dave
Stewart. Well,
yeah, sure.
Yeah, your problem there. Lined into right field, a base hit. This will score 1. They will wave Spahn to third, and it will be runners at the corners. Back-to-back hits with 2 outs. And the Bucs now leading it 13-5 as Castillo ropes one to right for another hit. That'll bring up, well, Bajani's due up. Let's see if he is going to bat. And it looks like we are going to have a pinch hitter.
Well, it's Damon Keith. They're just going to skip Bajani, it looks like, Jeff. And
well, what's hurting you there is that in 1989, it was not an A's pitcher, as it's Damon Keith. So they are just going to skip Bajani and go right to Keith, who's 1 for 3. No balls and a strike. Keith holds up, takes the fastball high for a ball. 89, it was not an A's pitcher, so you don't get the back-to-back. Eckersley won at 92 and Welch in 90. There goes the runner, and the throw is going to be wide and into center field, and this will bring home another run. On the play, Castillo going to make it to third as Spahn trots home with another run, and the Bucs now leading it 14-5.
How about the Braves?
I have to double check. I'd have to go to Baseball Reference. So I'm afraid, Dennis, I have to ask you to check your own answers. Not very professional on my part on my trivia questions to say. I tell you what, you look up your own answers there and let me know. I don't think so though, because I think when Maddox won in '92, he was still with the Cubs. It was Glavine in '91, Maddox '92, and then I think Maddox won a few in a row. But that would be the same pitcher, roped down the left field line and foul. So 3 balls, 2 strikes, the count, with Keith still at the plate and a runner at third. But I'm not saying the Braves are wrong. I just have I would have to refresh.
It's not one of your 4 off the top of your head.
I would not. I would have to refresh my memory on those early to mid '90s exactly how it went down. Meanwhile, Keith works the 2-out walk. So Navarro came in with a tough assignment, and it's been a struggle. Spahn with a base hit, Castillo with a base hit, and now Keith with a walk. And runners are at first and third, 2 outs, with the Bucs batting here in the top of the 7th, leading it 14-5. And here is J.J. Cruz, who's 2 for 3. A single and a triple in 3 trips. Swing and a miss. There's Navarro. Rears back and throws the fastball by him. Back to the screen. Oops. Navarro from the belt. Here's the 0-2 pitch. And Cruz able to just cue that one foul. Looks like Cruz is going to go back, maybe look for another bat.
How about the Milwaukee Brewers?
Keep going. I'm not waving you off on this one.
Maybe Don Sutton and Pete Vukovich?
Oh, you're really close. You got half of it.
Okay. Can I know which half?
Vukovich is correct.
Oof, who else would have been a Brewers? Has to be the early 80s.
Yes. This is 81 and 82. Yeah, it's absolutely. That is Clu Haywood. Swung on and missed, and Cruz down on strikes, and the Waves are out of the inning, but the Bucs had a couple of runs on 2 hits. No errors, 2 left on base, 7th inning stretch time from San Manuel Stadium, and the Bucs on top of the Waves 14-5. Here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. It's the Best of the West tournament, brought to you by Future Events Group. I like it. Brett Finnell back on the mound to work his 2nd inning. And he's ahead, no balls and a strike. And let's update everybody here on the big news. Dennis was right. The Braves are correct. Maddox in 95, Smoltz in 96. Swing and a miss. No balls and 2 strikes to count now on Ethan Ellis leading things off in the bottom of the 7th.
I also
So
figured
may
out the
I
Brewers.
say,
and I
well
figured out
done,
the Brewers.
friend. Yes, and the Brewers was correct. 81 and 82. Vukovich in 82, and it was Raleigh Fingers in 81. A ball and 2 strikes. Now the count.
I got to figure out the other two.
Yeah, the other two you can move forward a little bit. I'll give you a little bit of
Okay.
help on that one. We're not so far ago. Swing and a miss, and Ellis retired on strikes to start the bottom of the 7th. That'll bring up Joey Hawk. Hawk walked his first time up, eventually came around to score on the Anselmo. Bases clearing, base hit and error that accounted for 4 of the 5 runs for the Waves here tonight. First pitch in there for a strike.
I'm thinking perhaps the Astros with Justin Verlander. Or the Tigers.
I don't think the Tigers had another one in that time frame around the Verlander time. Interestingly, as I was looking this up, you go back, it's DeGrom the last 2 years, it's Scherzer the 2 years before that. All of a sudden we've had a spate of multiple winners, but it's the same pitcher. And I think the rarity here is the 2 different pitchers for the same one. As I was looking at this, I noticed the 4 in a row won by Randy Johnson. Just
That's remarkable, isn't it?
crazy. It's just,
I mean, that is just remarkable, a 4-year run like that. Talk about those Braves pitching staffs in the 90s.
yeah, the Braves winning it in 6 of 8 years, I believe. Only interrupted by from 91 to 98, as it's now 2 balls and 2 strikes on Hawk. But 92, when Maddox wins it with the Cubs before joining the Braves, swing and a miss. Hawk down on strikes, and Finnell starting to warm. Has struck out the first 2 batters here in the bottom of the 7th, and that'll bring up Anselmo. He's been the hero for the Waves tonight with the base hit, the big 2-out base hit back in the 3rd that turned into a bases clearing inside the park job after the ball took a funny hop and scooted all the way to the track, and Anselmo, running hard, made it all the way around to give the Waves the brief 5-4 lead. There you see Anselmo, the junior at Chico State. 1-0 pitch, check swing. They'll appeal down, and Anselmo held up.
Jeff, I think you might have stumped me on the other 2.
Well, because we're getting, out of that late 70s to maybe early 90s range, we've quickly moved away from my bailiwick, and I'll have to look up my own answers just to refresh us on the actual answers. But I will give you the teams if you want to.
Okay.
One is the Yankees, and the other is the Indians. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And this would be post-2000. So I'll give you fastball high to Anselmo. Full count on Micah Anselmo. 2 down, bases empty here in the bottom of the 7th, with the Bucs leading the Waves 14-5.
Was the Indians this past decade?
I think it was just over a decade ago. I got to write down my answers, so I'm a little more prepared on this stuff. I mean, I'm getting my questions together as I come up with them, and then I'm getting my appropriate diner references ready. And so there's a lot going on here. I got to remember to jot down my answers so that I'm ready. I just got that much faith in you, buddy. I figure you're just going to give me the answers.
No.
And then I don't have to remember them. So you'll remind me. 3-2 pitch. And Anselmo able to stay alive. I got the page up on the laptop. We'll get it between innings. I'll remind myself. Way inside. A 2-out walk for Anselmo. And now Finnell will work to the top of the order. Dylan Morris. Dylan Moraes 0 for 2, fly to right and struck out. And Fennell misses inside with the fastball. Fennell sticking with the fastball, gets that over for a strike. A ball and a strike now on Dylan Moraes. And Moraes just finishing up a stint at Riverside City College before heading to UCCS. 2 balls and a strike now the count. Fastball sails high. 3 balls and a strike on Fennell. Well, you see the good live arm with Fennell. No question about that. Fennell, just 6 innings at Cal Baptist here in 2020, but in those 6 innings of work that saw a 1.5 ERA for Fennell, did have 9 walks. Oof. So there's a little bit of the early book on young Brett Fennell. 3-2 pitch. Swung on and missed, and Moraes down on strikes as Fennell gets into the act, striking out the side. No runs, no hits, no errors, 1 left on base. Through 7 complete, the Bucs leading the Waves 14-5 at the 2020 Best of the West tournament here on SoCalCollegeSports.com, brought to you by Future Events Group. Top of the 8th inning. Rapetti set to lead things off for the Bucs. And back on the mound, it's Jesse Navarro. Missing with the fastball, a ball, no strikes. Still working out the trivia kinks here early in our system. We got a couple of games left though. I think we're gonna get better at this. Although I thought we came up with some good questions. I misspoke earlier. It's the Indians and the Blue Jays that have done it. Just in case you're playing along with us. So, 2 Blue Jays pitchers, 2 Indians pitchers that have completed the feat. 3 balls and no strikes quickly now on Rapetti, who's 2 for 3. A couple of singles and a run batted in here tonight. 3-0 from Navarro, called strike. And you did correctly get that it was Clemens, was one of them.
I don't even think I could venture a guess
Yeah.
on who the other.
I think when you hear it, it's gonna elicit a wow. As the memories will come back, you'll recognize the name, but it is one that I had forgotten, as Rapetti has a leadoff walk here in the 8th. So Pittman will be the batter. He's 0 for 2 with a walk. First pitch from Navarro is high for ball 1.
So, Jeff, I got to ask your opinion on this. It's kind of been, I think, mixed reviews so far. Last night's A's-Angels game went into extra innings. And one of the new wrinkles this year, new rules, is you start with a runner on second base.
Yeah, to start each inning in the extra innings.
Yes, and a couple of things. I particularly liked it. I thought the pace of the game picked up. I thought it brought a lot of excitement. I also thought it was interesting that
line drive into left for a base hit for Pittman.
So it was interesting that Joe Madden did not try to bunt the runner over for the Angels, and either did A's manager Bob Melvin. The A's ended up winning that game on a grand slam in the 10th, but I found it interesting. I liked it. I know there's been a lot of pushback. Just wanted to get your thoughts on the new rule, potential lasting new rule.
Yeah, you know, I really, honestly, the only thing I would have personally as I watch sports, if it makes it quicker, then I'll generally be a fan. Something that speeds it up, I would be fine with that. I think baseball has such an interesting tradition with tied to previous generations of the game. Unlike a lot of other sports, there's more of a timeless nature to baseball. So I think anything that sort of changes the nature sometimes will get pushback. So I'm not terribly surprised about that. I did hear a criticism as well that someone thought, well, it's already such a short season. Now you want to shorten the games on top of it. It just seems kind of dumb. But I'm with you. I don't mind it at all.
But I think that's been the criticism of baseball for at least the past decade. The games just take too long. There's not enough action.
Well, I'll tell you what. As both runners break and they will make it safely, it ends up being a walk for Miller anyway, and it's been brought to my attention that they will be skipping Austin Shell in the order. So this might be Michael.
Yeah, it is.
And it will be Michael Marsh that will bat next with the bases loaded. But I don't have a big problem with it. But yeah, if the entire game is working deep into the count and it's either home runs or strikeouts, as it appears the game has shifted in that direction. High chopper toward third. They'll short hop and go to first. Nice job by Thomas to come up with that ball cleanly and retire Marsh on the play. The runners were moving, so the run does score as Marsh is retired for the first out, and the Bucs push the lead now to 15-5 with runners at second and third and one down. But anyway, I got sidetracked from my point. Swing and a miss for Hansen, who's 1 for 3 in the game with a base hit. Well, but if that's the case, then you get the feeling maybe that games would move a little bit faster if the game itself hadn't moved to a style of play that seems so slow to begin with. Back behind home plate in more trouble as Combs battling the lights, can't locate.
Jeff, I don't know if they're just not picking the ball up, as I apologize for talking about it. I don't know if they're just not picking the ball up on the infield, but these are routine pop-ups that should be handled, that we've seen several fall to the ground where the players aren't even coming close.
Yeah, and that one's really not close to the dugout. There's a fair amount of room back there. Again, this just appears to be, as we watch the fielders, tricky lighting or something that's different than a lot of these players are used to. There's a swing and a miss. And Hansen retired on strikes for out number 2.
What about the universal DH? Are you in favor? I know you're a Cubs fan, National League guy. So
I don't have any problem with the DH. I think it's I enjoy the strategy, the lineup strategy of the game, as I'm sure a lot of fans do, but a lot of these pitchers are overwhelmed at the plate. You got guys hitting 100. Why is that interesting or fun in particular to watch?
Now, my favorite team plays in the American League, but I prefer the National League style with no DH. I'm not a fan of the designated hitter at all.
I recall hearing a discussion one time of one of the managers. Maybe it was one of them who had managed in both. Maybe Sparky Anderson, maybe Tony La Russa, and I was dumbfounded at their assertion that they found it tougher to manage in the American League, and they went into some of the reasons about handling pitchers and that went beyond the lineup juggling that you see, but that they had good reasons for it. But I was very surprised to read that there was a manager that felt that they actually found it more difficult to manage in the American League, just as kind of an aside, because you would think logically, having to deal with the lineup, that would be different. I mean, going back to our conversation last week, I mean, don't get me started. I love small ball, and I miss that when speed in a larger stadium was more part of the game. But I don't particularly mind if there's a designated hitter, just from the standpoint that it does seem that pitchers have so much trouble hitting that maybe having another bat in there. Swung on and driven to left, but off the end of the bat, so playable for Campbell. And he has it for the out to retire Spahn and the side here in the 8th. The Bucs add another run on one hit. They leave 2 on base. We're heading to the bottom of the 8th with the Bucs leading the Waves 15-5. Here on SoCalCollegeSports.com, the inaugural Best of the West tournament here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Jose Meza set to lead things off for the San Diego Waves against new pitcher right-hander Christian Culpepper on for the Bucs, 5th pitcher of the game, and he is slated to work the 8th and the 9th. First pitch, swinging fair ball down the first base line. They'll try to get to Culpepper covering, and Meza is going to be safe at first with an infield hit. That was a nice job by Miller down there at first base, keeping this one in front. I see Dennis going back to that one, and maybe a late break for Culpepper trying to get over to first, and that's all that Meza needed, and he was able to easily beat it out.
I don't think that's something that these teams have been able to practice. We've seen it a few times now where the pitcher gets off the mound a little bit late trying to cover first on a ball hit to the first baseman.
Culpepper ready. And the fastball at the knees for strike one.
So, partner, continuing our conversation about major leagues this season. 60-game season. 16 teams now qualifying for the postseason. Does the champion get an asterisk?
I don't know what happened in '81, and was there an asterisk by that?
There was not.
That may be the closest that we have for it.
You know, I don't think it. My personal opinion is no, it should not.
I don't think it's necessary. I think that those that remember, those that are fans, as Thomas is retired on strikes, will remember. Baseball fans will remember the context. They'll know what it means. And it's likely, unfortunately, it's unlikely that many of us will forget 2020. It's going to be a fairly memorable year in all of our lives. So chances are that we will remember what happened to sports, if nothing else as well, in this year, in these very strange times. So I'm with you. I think it'll just go down. It's just the story of what this year was. 1 ball and no strikes on Combs, who's 0 for 2. Culpepper kicks and delivers. And a foul tip evens up the count at a ball and a strike. And there is a look at Jonathan Combs on his way to Cal State San Marcos.
I know you love your 80s baseball, so can you give me every World Series champion from 80 to 89 in order?
Yes, that will not be a problem. And it's outside for a ball. And 1980, you got Philadelphia.
Correct.
Over Kansas City.
Yep.
81 was the Dodgers finally getting even with the Yankees.
Indeed.
82 was the Cardinals over the Brewers. That one saddened me. I was kind of a Brewer fan that year in the 7 games. 83 was Baltimore over Philadelphia.
Yes.
The Phillies went back. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Ripken's rookie year as well that year. 84. You know I'm going to remember 84. Not for what I should have remembered, which was the Cubs, if they'd had lights in their stadium being there and the drought ending much, much earlier. But it was the Tigers over the Padres. 85 was the Royals over the Cardinals. Swing and a miss. Combs down on strikes. And the famous Denkinger call. You ever heard Whitey Herzog tell that story?
I have not.
Of the play at first?
Oh, boy.
It's Whitey tells the story that he came out, and it was so obvious that he was who was it? Was it Steve Balboni? Was the batter? But anyway, he's talking about how Denkinger told him that the runner was safe, and Whitey's only line back to him was, well, then how the hell did he step on Worrell's foot? No balls and a strike. Always how he remembers it. But Liam Bailey, the batter now, 1 for 2. But that is a pretty famous call. But the Royals over the Cardinals, 86 in the greatest postseason ever. As again, we remind you, tomorrow night, it'll be the high school All-Stars taking over Inland Empire and Orange County in the high school All-Star game, and we'll have that for you at 7:30. 86 was the Mets over the Red Sox. Who will ever forget it? You remember that postseason?
Very well indeed.
What an incredible postseason. I mean,
Red Sox,
just insane. The championship series were unbelievable.
The Angels. It very well could have been an Angels-Astros World Series.
It absolutely could have. 87 was the Twins over the Cardinals in 7 games. Remember that one as well. Down on strikes. And Culpepper, after giving up a leadoff hit, strikes out the side. The Waves are gone in the 8th. We'll head to the 9th. Bucs on top of the Waves 15-5 here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Top of the ninth. And the Bucs leading this one 15-5, and Austin Shell will lead things off. Skipped in the order last inning, but he will bat here, and then we'll pick it up with Castillo. And then Damon Keith for the Bucs. Navarro continues to work on the bump for the Waves. I continue to work on World Series winners in the 80s.
I think we left off with 86.
I think we left off with 86. We're heading to 1987. And the memorable, I want to say 84 win, 85 win, Minnesota Twins winning that one in 7 over the Cardinals.
They did. I think
a big upset, 2 balls and a strike. I think that's where the air conditioning game was.
I think the home team won every game in that series.
It absolutely happened that way, and you are indeed correct. 3 balls and a strike.
And wasn't it, Jeff, back then they alternated? It didn't matter. The Twins won, what, 84, 85
Yeah, they
games?
alternated, yeah, because the Twins were barely over 500, so would not have had it. Swung on and lifted deep to center. Moving back, it's Hawk, but he has room in front of the track to retire Shell for out number 1. Yeah, and in fact, the Twins pulled the incredibly unlikely upset over the Tigers, who had a dominating season to win the AL East that year, winning the ALCS in 5 games. So they were a true Cinderella. Do you remember the manager for the Twins? 2-time World Series winner?
Gardenhire, I believe?
No, it was before Gardenhire, but I'll show you how long that Gardenhire has been there.
Hold on, I remember he had glasses. He wore glasses. Oh my goodness, I could. Tom Kelly.
Tom Kelly, that's it. You got it. And just a very necessarily underrated manager. How many guys have 2 World Series rings? And there's Kelly. Takes his team from last to first 2 different times. A ball and a strike. 88, you asked me to skip that.
Please do.
But suffice it to say, I remember it. 2 balls and a strike, as I'm sure you do. And then 89, we got some good news for you.
There we go.
In a 4-game sweep. After the Giants ousted my Cubs, the A's.
Yeah, but it also was interrupted by an earthquake.
Yes, it was. A bit of a snooze for a World Series, but yet, ironically, perhaps one of the most memorable World Series ever. Only an announcer as gifted as Al Michaels can call an earthquake and not lose his bearings on where he is. Ground ball towards second. Bailey having some trouble, goes to first in time to just get Castillo.
I'm not asking you to, but how much further could you continue naming the World Series winners? How far can you go, do you think? Or can you do it all the way to
I don't know. I get a little shaky in the last but I could certainly go all the way through the 90s, well into the 2000s, and who knows. And I know who won it in 2016.
Yes, you do.
A ball and strike. But I might somewhere around about 2010 or 11. I lost a little track. I might have a little trouble. How far can you go?
Ooh, that's a good question. I
could also go back into the 60s, probably into about the mid 60s or so.
I think I'm with you. I think last decade is where I start to get lost.
Yeah. Well, I don't entirely remember. Ball and 2 strikes.
I can tell you which team lost a lot of World Series in the 90s.
Isn't it interesting how the 90s boast, I think, 2 really great decade teams in the Braves and the Indians, and yet, ironically, as much sustained success as both franchises had in that time, just 1 World Series between the 2 of them, 1 win between the 2 of them, and it's just funny that really, along with the Yankees, does have to be the top 3 in that decade. Swung on and missed as Keith is down on strikes. 1, 2, 3 in the 9th for Navarro, and we will head to the bottom of the 9th. The Bucs leading the Waves 15-5, the inaugural Best of the West tournament. Bring me up when you're ready. Really? Okay. Bottom of the 9th. Culpepper back on the mound. It'll be Zitko, Teicher, and Morales for the Waves. The Bucs, after trailing at 5-4, have poured it on to take a 15-5 lead into the 9th. Zitko 0 for 2, struck out twice. And Culpepper ready. Here's the 1-0. Swing and a miss. Zitko had a good cut. 1 ball and 1 strike. As always, at SoCalCollegeSports.com. Want to thank Charlie Reynoso for helping to spearhead this project and getting this tournament going. Certainly, it was a lot of effort from Charlie, but also bringing us in and helping to make the live stream available to you. So we give our thanks to Charlie for bringing us on, letting us bring the action to you. Pitch misses inside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Special thanks to Michelle Klauser, helping us throughout the weekend, getting us the information that we need, getting the broadcast ready. And Michelle been a point person for us from the outset. We thank her for all of her help as well. Called strike 3. Zitko retired on strikes, and Culpepper, meanwhile, doing his best Mason McGarvey imitation. He's fanned 4 in a row. There you see the curveball from Culpepper, getting Zitko for out number 1. I want to thank Ronaldo Gonzalez, Matt Tyndall in the press box, helping us out as well throughout the broadcast. Jammed him, but it will hang up in center, where Keith has it for the out, for out number 2. Special thanks to the team here at SoCalCollegeSports.com. Tyler Rubin, Jorge Zepeda on camera. Corey Rubin directing and producing, and tonight's broadcast produced and directed by Mike Zepeda. Thanks to Dennis Ackerman for sitting in. Another full day of baseball for you, D.
Enjoyed it. Always a pleasure.
How can you not?
Always a pleasure hanging out with you guys.
Wanted to give you the answer real quick for the Blue Jays. The pitcher that you're wondering about for the Cy Young that won it before Clemens, Pat Henkin.
Oh, wow.
Right?
I do recall him, but I never would have guessed.
Yes, amazingly, I had forgotten that Pat Henkin won a Cy Young award, but he did right before Clemens got there. And then for the Indians, it was in, I believe, about 2005, 2006, it was Cliff Lee and CC Sabathia, if you remember that. Diving stop at third. Rapetti's throw is going to be wide of the bag. So it's going to be an infield hit for Morales. And the Waves still alive for one more batter. A 2-hit night, meanwhile, for Morales, who had a good night at the plate, 2 for 2 with a walk. And Caden Zubo will be the batter, as Culpepper will try to finish it out. So that finishes up the trivia. Pretty good. In there for a strike. Zubo's 0 for 2. Grounded out and struck out. Bucs trying to move it to 4-2 in the tournament. With the loss, the Waves will drop to 1-7. 1 ball and 1 strike. Culpepper kicks and delivers. Swung on and missed. And now the Waves down to their final strike. We will rejoin you tomorrow night for the high school all-star game. Foul tip. Orange County All-Stars, Inland Empire All-Stars. And we're eyeing a 7:30 first pitch, but of course all times are tentative depending on how the games go. Do have to allow for some warm-up time and preparation time for the team. So check in around 7:30. We hope to see you. We should start right then, thereabouts, maybe a little bit after, depending on time. High fastball from Culpepper, and he finishes it off with a strikeout of Zubo. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left on base. It's a final from San Manuel Stadium here in San Bernardino. Bucs 15, Waves 5. For everybody here at SoCalCollegeSports.com, we'll see you tomorrow night. So long, everybody.